Welcome to How Do I AI, where we explore practical tips for using AI to create personalized instruction and complete time-consuming tasks in just a few clicks. I'm Elena, a K-12 educator, a dyslexia provider, and a doctoral candidate in neuroeducation at Johns Hopkins University. This video will explore how we can use ChatGPT to customize instruction with neuropsychological evaluations. Compared to psychoeducational evaluations, which we discussed in part 1, neuropsychological or neurodevelopmental evaluations offer a more in depth look into cognitive abilities, such as memory or attention, for example, for the purpose of understanding the presence of specific academic or social functioning concerns, or when needed to rule out or confirm specific conditions such as ADHD or autism spectrum disorder. These evaluations bring so much data, but unfortunately, we may not always know how to interpret the scores and turn this data into instruction. ChatGPT can be incredibly helpful with that. Let me show you how. You will need a free or paid ChatGPT account, some data from a psychoeducational or neuropsychological evaluation, and some student specific knowledge that will later drive your decisions, such as grade level or specific subject or skill that you want to focus on, or any preferences that you know your students may have. These are the steps that I recommend that you take when you do this work. Ready? Let's dive in. Start with, what do you want to know? In my case, my student had a neuropsychological evaluation, and I want to understand, what do the scores mean, as well as how can I use this information to provide them with targeted support. Never upload the evaluation documents or any other documents that contain identifiers such as the students' names, date of birth, addresses, or schools. Using the summary tables that are found at the end of evaluations is a good way to protect the student's privacy, since those usually do not include any identifiers. And now it is time to create the prompt. The prompt is the question or directions you give ChatGPT to guide its response. My prompt includes some non-identifiable student-specific information. For example, some behavioral difficulties I am observing in the classroom, as well as academic strengths and challenges. I am also telling ChatGPT there was a neuropsychological evaluation and am asking it to let me know when ready for the scores. And then it tells me, like, I'm ready. Okay, uploaded. And so I've clicked on the paperclip in the lower left corner of the prompt window to upload the scores table from my computer, and am now being very specific with what I want to know. I am saying, first, explain the scores, then explain to me how the picture span score impacts my student, because that score was in the first percentile. And after that, explain, what does the NEPSI mean? I have no idea what that measures, so let's see what we get. So it gave me explanation of all the scores. Then it tells me that the cognitive skill measured by the picture span subtest is visual working memory. And then it explains what is the NEPSI and tells me that it measures cognitive skills related to academic and social functioning, such as attention, memory, executive functioning, and language. And it finally gives me suggestions for instructional practices. Let's evaluate this output. The output is the response, text, or result generated by the AI based on the prompt or the input provided. I am going to focus on the reading comprehension. So we have 3 suggestions. The first is for pre-reading activities with building background knowledge and front-loading vocabulary. The second is for active reading using a graphic organizer to keep track of details, and pausing after they read a chunk of text and summarizing. And the third, for adding listening support.
They're all good and I'll keep them in mind for the future, but based on what I know about my student, the second suggestion is most urgent. So I'll ask for two nonfiction passages. I'm thinking one for the lesson and another for independent practice on two topics that my student loves: Hello Kitty and My Little Pony, to make sure they enjoy the passages and have high vocabulary knowledge, and that will improve comprehension as well. Then we repeat as needed. It's time to decide what else do you need to know, then create another prompt and evaluate that output, and go through the cycle as many times as you need. Okay, so here is the Hello Kitty passage. Two short paragraphs and a summary tip. And the My Little Pony passage follows the same structure. Hmm. If I want to follow the I do, you do, we do structure in my lesson, I would need at least three paragraphs for the lesson passage, and maybe the second passage will be for independent work and then some homework. So two paragraphs doesn't work. I'll ask for revision and ask for three paragraphs. Click on the upward pointing arrow in the right hand side corner of the prompt box. Excellent. Here are the passages, and each has three paragraphs. I'll ask for a PDF doc. Here's the Hello Kitty PDF. It looks okay, but the font is a little small, so I'll ask for a slightly larger font. And then I'll click on the link to download my file. And here it is. It looks great on the page, and I've also read the passage to make sure that it's appropriate for my student. Then I ask for the graphic organizers for each passage. Here I am asking for a Word document so I can edit if I need to. Scroll past the code, find the link and click on it, and then find the document in your downloads. And here is the Word document. Click on Enable Editing so you can print and edit. Here are the original and the revised documents. I liked the questions, so did not need to revise them. I deleted text that was irrelevant for my student and was making the document a little busier. I made everything bigger but still kept it a one-pager. I also added a small illustration to make it more visually engaging. I'm choosing to keep the writing space as is. It's okay for my student, but if they had graphomotor delays, I could have revised by adding more space or adding manuscript lines. I am now asking for a lesson plan to integrate the passages and graphic organizers. I am asking ChatGPT to follow the I do, you do, we do format for the Hello Kitty passage, since I'll use that for the lesson, and am specifying that My Little Pony will be used for independent practice and homework. And here is my lesson plan. It gives me the objective and materials. It followed the I do, you do, we do format. It gives me explicit directions. It provides me with options for assessment and even extension ideas. Perfect. I'll ask for the Word document. Click on the upward arrow, scroll past the code, find the link and click it, and then find the Microsoft Word document in your downloads. And here is the lesson plan. Now all you have to do is print it. The last step is to decide if, when, and how you want to integrate the instructional materials you've asked ChatGPT to create. A word of caution: ChatGPT is a useful tool, but it is not always accurate, so always make sure you have the final say by rereading and checking all output. Thank you for your time and attention. If you enjoyed this video and or found it useful, please subscribe and follow How Do I AI for more micro tutorials on ways we can harness
AI's potential for making our work as educators a little bit easier.